Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually creating an apartment complex for The Sims. I know that technically you can't really have an apartment complex in terms of actually having tenants and like all that kind of stuff, but you can kind of get around it if you have roommates, so you can add people to the lot. And so there's gonna be 6 apartments in this building. So like you could live in one and then you could have 6 other tenants for the other ones. The only downside is then you have to keep up with like making sure, like you kind of act like a landlord. You have to make sure you keep all of the stuff repaired and things like that. But that is a way to just have kind of neighbors and them do their own thing and walk around and come and go as they please. The other option is if you have multiple Sims in your actual family that you're playing, then you can kind of like lock the doors for all of the other ones. So like they can only access the one that they like own. I've done that before. The only issue becomes that then you can't have like them come over because then you've locked them out of your apartment. Because if you don't do that, then they'll just like go wherever to use the bathroom, like wherever to cook. So then all of a sudden you'll have like your 3rd floor neighbor in your 1st floor apartment cooking mac and cheese or whatever. So those are some ways to utilize it, but I also just thought it'd be fun because each one of the apartments I plan to decorate is going to be a little bit different. Like there's different people living there. And actually on that note, this one is just a video for the exterior. So it took me a while to actually do the exterior as well as the common spaces. So like there's like a stairwell going all the way up through the building. So I decorated those and like kind of the landing areas for those staircases. And there's also like a clubhouse on the top where I figured, you know, your tenants can go and hang out and have get-togethers and barbecue and things like that. But all of that will be decorated in this video, and I am going to actually upload the shell to the gallery. So if you want to download that and decorate the apartments yourselves, then you are of course free to do so. The only things that'll be decorated are, like I said, the common areas, and then all the apartments will be empty. I didn't include floor plans for those either because honestly, as of right now, I have no clue what I want those to look like. And it turns out the way the stairwell ended up working is the ones on the bottom floors, there's 2 per floor, or at least on the 3 main floors. The bottom 2 are a little bit smaller than the other 4 just because since I have a front door and a back door to this building, I ended up having to make like a long corridor through the whole thing. So you can actually access the stairs from like either side of the building. But all the other floors just have like a smaller landing space for the stairs. I also included like in here like a trash chute and like 6 different apartment mailboxes. And again, I'm pretty sure that's not actually something that the game will use properly, but for aesthetics, I put them in there. I assume they only like put mail into one of them since really you're only gonna have like one family like living there. But I haven't done a lot with this, but anyways, I was just kind of in the mood to make an apartment complex and just to have just like this huge thing to build creatively in. And so I kind of did this like really light motif on the outside and just like slightly modern, but not like super modern, if that makes sense. And I was back and forth on like that top, like deciding if it was gonna be an apartment or like a clubhouse, but I went with clubhouse in the end, and I let the rest of it be like a balcony space for everybody because I wanted to make sure I had space for like people to go and like sit together and barbecue and things like that. But I ended up using like a lot of this space around the actual building as like the entry space, and on the back ended up being basically a big parking lot, which again, we don't actually have cars in The Sims, so not super useful, but like aesthetically it made a lot of sense. So I put that back there, and so there's not a lot of room for other stuff like barbecues. So I ended up putting that kind of on the balcony up there. So, and I also wanted it to be that all the people that lived in the building, even if you use roommates or if you had people in your family and you had to like lock them out of different apartments to make it work, that they could also access all of that. And so then you'd leave, I guess, the space unlocked to that top floor, but they would all have access to that. And then I actually ended up, along with the parking lot on the back, I also put in like some bike parking. I thought that'd be kind of cute. Again, this is actually in Newcrest, so it's like a neighborhood area, so it's not necessarily like a city space where people might be riding their bikes a lot. I did think about putting it in the city, but I just opted to do it here instead because I didn't feel like bulldozing any of the lots in San Myshuno. But, you know, you could easily put that somewhere else. I think this is a 40 by 30 lot, if I'm not mistaken. But I might be, I might be a little bit off. But it's definitely not the biggest lot possible, but it is a fairly large lot. And so since I wanted to make it kind of modern, like I wanted to have like this sculpture, like fountain in the front, I do end up swapping out the pink in the end because it just did not match the rest of the build. But I don't think I do that until closer to actually the end of the build. But it did take me some time to actually figure out what I wanted the front to look like. I did think about putting like a fence and a gate up, but since you can't put like fences all the way at the road or the edge of the lot, it didn't really work out, and it just looked kind of weird to me to have it like cut short. So just kind of having that space that didn't work. But we ended up putting like hedges all the way around it to define the lot. And there is a gate in the back, like from the parking lot. Like, again, just thinking like, I don't know, like you have to have like a key card or something to get into the building or like get through the gate. And you can see here I'm starting to put in that parking lot here, and I put like hedges around it to kind of give it a little space. And I did have a little bit of room in the back. You can see there's like a little strip of grass there. I did end up putting some gardening boxes because I figured, I don't know, maybe there's like a community garden, and you might have some Sims that actually want to utilize that. And I also put in a monkey bar set. Is that what it's called? Monkey bars in the back as well, in case there are kids on the lot. There's something for them to do there. Because like I said, I have no idea who I want to live in this building. But we'll see once I actually start building. And then I was trying to put like bags of trash by the dumpster, and the ones I found literally turned into just dirt when you placed it. So I got rid of that, but don't worry, I did find actual like bags of trash, you know, because that's something normal people say, they're just looking for bags of trash. But I kind of just wanted it like maybe it's piled up around the dumpster, and I figured that makes a lot of sense for an apartment building. But they do have a trash chute, which I'm pretty sure effectively works like one of those big trash cans or a dumpster. Like it just kind of gets rid of all the trash, so you don't actually have to worry about it. But anyways, it made a lot of sense. And I put some like cones there, kind of like telling people not to park in front of it. Like maybe it was a parking space at one time. And I did realize like I wanted like 6 parking spots back there, but then since there's like 6 apartments, but I really wanted to put a dumpster back there. But again, like it's not like your Sims can use the cars anyways. Those are actually just toy cars that I sized up. I do know you can find some more cars in Debug, but at the time I just had those that I came across. And then I'm still working on the front of the building, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and what I wanted that to look like. And you see I tried to like widen that space, and I was like, maybe I'll put some flowers there. But anyways, I'll eventually figure it out. But it took a little bit of time to do. And then again, I felt like maybe having a fence to get into that area. I mean, even though you could just kind of like jump over the bushes or whatever. Anyways, it just seemed like it fit that way. And then I wanted to make sure that there was enough light on the outside of the building. I don't know. It's one of my things. Like I like when it's dark that my buildings are illuminated, like homes or whatever I'm working on. And then I experimented with these. I think these are spa day lights that I end up like putting strips like all the way up the building because I thought that kind of looked cool and looked a little bit modern. Again, maybe this building would fit a little bit better in this city, especially with all the lights, but here we are. For right now, it is in Newcrest. But maybe it's just like a modern development, you know, it's a new building. And so my plan is to actually have videos for furnishing each of the apartments. And as of like this very moment, I have furnished one of them. I was thinking I was going to do like a video per floor, but it turns out like I am a slow decorator. So as of right now, I already have a video for one apartment. And so this will be a multi-part like building series of just filling all of that in. And I think what I might do is in case, obviously, like if you don't want to play with this whole entire apartment complex, I might actually just save it as like a room. So you can download it as like, quote, a room, and then you could create like a little house with it, or, you know, do whatever you want with it. But that means basically that I will knock down particular walls in the apartment so that the game sees it as a room, so that it can be uploaded to the gallery and you can download it. So anyways, I will do that once those speed builds actually start going out. And actually, as of right now, the one and only apartment I've done so far is actually like a grandmother's apartment. Of course, I put them on the first floor because I thought it made a lot more sense, considering how many stairs your Sims are going to have to go up to get to the other floors. And I wish that we had elevators. Like, I know we had them in Sims 3, and I know that there are, like, we have elevators in Debug from San Myshuno, but I'm fairly certain that those aren't actually functional if you tried to use them on your own lots. They just kind of, if they act like the rest of Debug, your Sims just kind of ignore it. And this was me trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to deal with having your Sims going up and down the stairs. And I had originally, because I thought about putting like a long corridor on the first floor, and then I was thinking I'd have to do it on all the other floors, and I was trying to figure out how not to do that because it just felt like it took up a lot of space and it was a little unnecessary. So I thought about, since there is a front and a back entrance to the building, I wanted to have like maybe separate staircases, but then like I wasn't sure even how those would connect to each of the like floor, like each of the sides of the building, because it's basically each side of the building is a different apartment. And anyways, you see me just like struggling to figure this out, and I end up I figure out how to actually stack the staircases, and so I just end up on the first floor having a really long corridor, but then and on the other floors it's just in the center of the building. I have staircases kind of on top of each other. So it's interesting. I mean, since this is like 4 floors, so 3 floors of apartments and then the clubhouse, like I'm trying to wonder how long it would take your Sim to actually walk up there. So I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I feel like it might take them a minute to get all the way up there. But yeah, I'm trying to decide what other tenants would be in this building. Like I said, I've got the grandmother, and then on the first floor you can see, because of the long corridor, like they're a little bit smaller than they're going to be on the other floors. And I could split it, and like I could have done maybe 4 apartments down there, but then I decided not to because I felt like they might be a little bit small. But of course, if you get the shell, you can do kind of whatever you want with it. And each of the apartments will have like 2 balconies, which I think is kind of cool, especially if you have like multiple bedrooms, which I plan to have some of especially the bigger apartments having at least 2 bedrooms in them, especially if you have like families and, you know, things like that. And it makes sense since there's monkey bars in the backyard to have some kids there. But then also when I was starting to decorate the one apartment I've done, I realized that like these large like eco lifestyle windows are fantastic and they're so beautiful, but then trying to find curtains that work on them is going to be a challenge. I realized that when I was doing the grandmother's apartment, and so I'm gonna have to figure that out for all of the other builds. And because again, like I think about like realistic things, like having such large windows, like people can just like see in. But I think it will look interesting when the build is completely furnished, and I plan to upload it when it's completely furnished as well. I'm curious to see how expensive this is going to be. I feel like my builds are typically expensive, but this is going to be, I mean, a monstrosity of expense. Like it's going to be very expensive considering how many like individual families like I'm thinking would live here. But I think it'll be interesting once it is furnished when you look from the front, because you can actually see into all the apartments, like what it looks like then, you know, like it actually, I'm kind of excited. I feel like it would look like it's lived in and there's like actually a bunch of people there, which I think would be really cool to see. And then, yeah, so this is like, I'm just trying to decorate. I had like a theme go through all of the common areas so that it all looks cohesive since it's part of the same apartment building. And so you see me use that plant a bunch and like the entry rugs a lot. I mean, realistically, if you're an apartment, you would decide whether you put a rug in front of your door, but like a welcome mat or something. But I don't know. I just went with like a cohesive feel. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll change it as I go through and decorate. We'll see. And I do, like, you see me put like the 6 mailboxes here on the first floor, because I'm like, oh, it makes sense to be a lobby, but then like it just looked like a lot. Like they just looked so crazy all sitting next to each other. So I actually end up putting 2 on each floor, like they're right outside your door. The poor male person that has to put stuff in it, like that would be terrible to have to like walk up all these stairs because we didn't put mailboxes on the same floor. But again, it's The Sims, it doesn't matter. And then I thought like in this giant like entryway that maybe they had some seating areas, like a lobby, I don't know, like if you're waiting on somebody or whatever, just kind of a little place to hang out. And then I actually put in 2 of them. You can see I already took out the other mailboxes, and I think it looks so much better. And then with a trash chute on each floor as well. And then I did track down, that like a message announcement board that came with City Living. And so it's meant like for apartments, like I think for announcements and whatever. I haven't used them too often, but I thought it made sense here. Like, I don't know, the manager of the building comes by and puts like notices on the board, or just the other tenants, like put stuff out there. But anyways, so I just thought it was kind of realistic. And then again, I put like a seating area on each floor, like in like the little lobby area. And that was me trying to figure out what happened, because like they just didn't look the same. On the second and third floor, the little landings didn't look identical, which I thought was really odd since I thought I made it that way. So I had to shift one of the staircases, I think the one on the bottom floor. And then they all matched. So that made me feel better. And so then I put like the clutter's like a little different. They're all like a plant, and like I think I put magazines on each one. So again, I thought maybe it's just stuff people left, like advertisements or something. But I did think about putting a rug, but then it just looked really weird, so I just left it. And also it's not super realistic since it's such a common area. And then, so this is the top floor of the clubhouse. And I kind of wanted this just to be like a hangout space, like your Sims could have parties there. I'm thinking it'd be really cool, like the tenants have somewhere to throw get-togethers and hang out. So we end up actually putting a ping pong table up here and a dance floor and a bar. And like, I mean, it's a fully loaded clubhouse. Like this is a really luxurious apartment, I feel like. And there's even like aquariums. I just thought that looked really cool. So just like a really awesome hangout space. And I have like 2 different girls that'll be out on the porch, and multiple seating areas. So like you could really have a party here. Like invite all the neighbors plus some, like everybody in the building could be having a party, and there'd be plenty of space. And then I ended up putting like some couches in here. I even include like a little buffet table on the other side of the stairs, like for having a party. It's basically just missing like a wedding arch, and you could like get married here. Like it's almost giving me like these like hotel vibes, you know, like the ones where you would have like a wedding and things like that. And I wanted to put like a DJ booth in here, but it just seemed really large. So I just put a dance floor and then like a stereo in there, so your Sims could like dance and things like that, but not necessarily have a DJ. Of course, you could replace it if you'd like one. It just seemed really large in this space, so I'm sure you could redo it. And the bar, we actually put in a bigger bar, and we get rid of that one, and that's where the buffet table ends up going. And I thought about putting some lights, but it just seemed like overkill since this wasn't like a club. This is just an apartment. But of course, like I said, there's like a giant bar. But I guess if your Sims are having a party, you would have a bartender come by and, you know, be lots of fun. And I do end up putting like mirrors on the back wall behind the bar. Like, I don't know, it just seemed really like classy. I don't know. And that's just from the wedding pack, the buffet, and that dance floor, because the other dance floors just seemed like more clubby than they felt like maybe apartment-y. Like, I know those really aren't words, but this one just looked like it matched a little bit more. And then we put this like table over there. I felt like it needed something. And then I kind of just put this giant sculpture on it. I don't know. It just seemed like maybe something that was there. And I was thinking about like maybe putting like some awards or something, but then that like kind of felt weird. So I ended up not. And then I put that little table like everywhere. You'll see me put it all over the place, including out on the balcony. And then I think I'm about to put the mirrors here in a second. So those are kind of layered. And of course, I know for some people this might like lag a bit because of all the mirrors. Of course, you can take all of those out. or just completely, redo this or make this an apartment actually. Like that could be cool too. And maybe that's just like the really cool like studio apartment with all the balconies. But it just seemed like a lot of balcony for such a small space, but of course you could expand this out too and make it larger, and make it like a penthouse suite or like 2 stories or something like that. And then I thought like I wanted a little something on the wall, and I thought the movie poster was kind of cool. Like, I don't know, maybe like this famous sim that was in the movie came to a party at this clubhouse. I don't know. Like kind of however you want to, make that up in your mind. But I want to put some fire pits, like a really cool gathering area. And I do end up putting some rugs underneath it. Yes, that is a fire hazard, but I thought it looked nice. So I did that. And I also put like little candle tea light things on all of the different tables to kind of give it a nice like light. So like if your Sims are hanging out at night, they can actually see what's going on, and you can see what's going on because you're playing in this. And then I just added like little seating areas in the corners. And then I do end up putting in 2 chess tables as well. Like I thought that'd be good skill building that could happen, and maybe a way for the different tenants to like hang out together. And then on the other side is where we finally put the 2 grills, and then 2 large tables for your Sims to hang out at. And I actually put 2 lounge chairs too. I think you've got Sims that want to go like sunbathe on the roof. They can. And just like a kind of a cool place to hang out. I actually like the view, like in one of the screenshots that'll be coming up, like the view you have from those chairs is actually kind of nice. And speaking of screenshots, we're actually starting to get towards the end of the build. So I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to download this off the gallery. And my Sims ID is spicensprinkles. No spaces or anything like that. And it's down below if you want to see it, but the shell is up, and I will slowly have other parts coming with all the other apartments. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a really sweet day and enjoy the screenshots. Bye everybody.